Well. What is going on, Cowboys Nation? Let's Talk Cowboys is in the house. We got a great show today. It's going to be a short show, but it's going to be a great show. We have some things to talk about. Michael Irvin. I ran across something that Michael Irvin said, and it really has my spidey senses tingling. And I'm just wondering, Cowboys Nation, should we be worried about Michael Irvin's scary prediction? Now, in the grand scheme of things, I'm not really worried. But I do think what the playmaker said, if what the playmaker says is true, then we might need to worry a little bit. And I'm going to show you something. I'm going to connect some dots here. And I'm going to show you why Michael Irvin may not even realize it himself. But Michael Irvin's prediction is absolutely scary. So, as you guys come in, appreciate you hitting that like button on the way in. Let's keep hitting that like button. Let me give you the topics for today. But again, man, I got to preview. I gotta do it again, but I have to preview that 2025 music. This is actually not a new beat that I made. It's an old beat that I had a long time ago. Never knew that this was gonna come into play. But for people who haven't heard it, let me let you hear that new Cowboys music we're gonna be rolling with in 2025. And then we'll talk about we'll give the topics for the day. Y'all ready? Man, this thing right here. I love this beat. Let's go. Yep. This is that victory music right here. Let's go. Appreciate it. Y'all hit that like button as you come in. Let's go. Let's go. Hey, when you hear this music right here, you know it is victory. Let's go. Again, welcome, Cowboy fans and Cowboy haters alike. I'm the G, and I'm the host of Let's Talk Cowboys, where we talk facts. And if you like this video or this live stream when you come in, please hit that like button. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you share. Call somebody on the phone and tell them Let's Talk Cowboys is live. Let's go. Here's our topics for the day. So we're going to be talking about, again, Michael Irvin's scary prediction. Michael Irvin didn't even take this as a scary prediction. But this is an absolutely scary prediction to me if it happens the way Michael Irvin says. Our second topic for the day is all about the schedule, but we're going to deep dive into the Dallas Cowboys schedule. And what I mean by deep diving into the Dallas Cowboys schedule, I want to look at what we would probably call the definitive wins. Because I know people are saying, oh, 12 wins is crazy, 13 wins is crazy, 11 wins are crazy. But I do believe that there are definitive wins built into the Cowboys schedule. Not only will we have definitive wins, but I want to look at also why we may win some games that people don't think we can win. So we're going to look at that. And then finally, I want to look again at what people are calling the difficult stretch for the Cowboys. And if this is going to be a true difficult stretch for the Cowboys, then I don't know what to tell us. Y'all forgive me, I'm writing stuff down as I go. I come off the top of the dome with I come up with the topics sometimes beforehand, but I want to make sure as I'm saying things because I don't write a script. But this difficult stretch that we're talking about, if it's truly a difficult stretch, Cowboy fans, this is dangerous. It is absolutely dangerous. But that's going to be our topics for the day, and then we'll conclude. Who knows what may come up while we're on? Who knows? Micah Parsons could sign a contract. Who knows? Let's go. Let's get a few. Let's do a quick roll call. Lord Nova, 95 in the crib. Oh, I'm sorry. I got my glasses on, and these are not reading glasses. Lord Nova 85 in the crib. What's going on with you? Scarecrow, what's going on? Scarecrow in the crib. Good to see you. Oh, Scarecrow, he said, love the shades, G. Yeah, my wife got these when she went to the Cowboys game last year. I told my wife I was taking her to a Cowboys game this year, Scarecrow, but them ticket prices. Man, them ticket prices. Let me tell y'all something. Do not let the NFL fool y'all. The NFL knows something. The NFL is telling us something about the Dallas Cowboys. And they're not just telling us they're America's team, that the Cowboys bring in numbers. They're telling us something about the Dallas Cowboys. My man Alfredo Morales, what up? Hallelujah. What up? Hallelujah. Good to see you. LaQueen, my sister, what's going on? X Brown in the crib. What's going on? We feeling good up in here. Oak Cliff Rockefeller, let's go. Katharina Kiss, what's going on this Saturday evening? Good to see you. Let's go. Raymond Estrada, what up, what up? Scott Johnson in the crib, good to see you. Man, I'm seeing some names I haven't seen before. Jamison Taylor, hope all is well. And my man, the dude, yes sir. It's a great Saturday night to chat about a little cowboy. Yeah, it is. Yes, Miss Matrix in the crib. What's going on with you, my sister? Good to see you. All right, we're going to get a couple more, and then we're going to get this show started. Man, I'm glad everybody's in. Bleeding blue. What's going on in the crib? You have to take what the playmaker says with a grain of salt. Man, the playmaker, boy, I tell you, I don't think he understands what he said, but I hope he catch the show, and I hope he gives a response to it. Ty Howard in the crib. What's going on with you? Good to see you. Louise Ortiz, Timothy Govin, let's go. Lucky Fullwood, Jared Thomas, number 1 Dak Prescott fan, and I'm number 2. What's going on with you? Again, Jamison Taylor, hope all is well with you. My man Alex in the crib, what's going on? Let's go. Gregory Davis in the crib. John Jones in the crib. My man Mills 36 in the crib. Saturday and Sunday, the Cowboys get breaks, but come Monday morning at 6 a.m., the Cowboys hater starts back up. Yes, sir. Let's go. Front office in the crib. All right, let's get this thing going. Roy Cook, let's go. Katharina Kiss, she said, I think we'll go 13-4 this season. Ooh-wee. Oh, that's why we got that victory music playing. I believe this offseason was awesome. The front office did amazing. Absolutely. All right, let's get to our first topic. Let's get this thing going. Our first topic for today, we're going to deal with Michael Irvin's scary prediction. Here we go. I am going to tell y'all why what Michael Irvin, I'm going to play it back for anybody who hasn't seen my video. I'm going to play it back. Michael Irvin is on the Rich Eisen show. And they're asking Michael Irvin very innocent questions about the Cowboys. And it's just his breakdown game by game. It's not a big deal. And I don't believe Michael Irvin even sees like what he's saying as a scary prediction. But I'm going to show you why. This is unequivocally a scary prediction by Michael Irvin. This is a scary prediction. And I don't even, I mean, when I heard it, and when I did my first video on it, I was kind of like, the games that Michael Irvin has us losing, I'm very concerned about. I'm very concerned about these games because the record he gives us isn't the problem. Michael Irvin says he believes the Dallas Cowboys are going to finish with a 12-5 record. Somebody says, you'd probably be cheering. It's not the fact that he said we're going to go 12-5. It's the games we lose. It is the games that we lose. that are diabolical. It is diabolical, the games that he thinks we lose. So let me go back for anybody who hasn't watched my video today. Let me let you hear what Michael Irvin says about this Cowboys season. I mean, it is diabolical what he says. Let me cue it up real quick. This is diabolical. Okay. So I want to pick this up where Michael Irvin gets to midway point through the season. Michael Irvin says, all the way through week 9, Michael Irvin says the Cowboys only lose one game. Michael Irvin predicts the Cowboys will go 8-1. Michael Irvin says the game the Cowboys lose is the Green Bay Packers. Keep that in your mind. The Green Bay Packers. So when he gets to week 11 with the Las Vegas Raiders, he says we're going to beat the Raiders. Let's tune in.
Okay,
that's a game. Week 12, home for Philly.
Now you heard him. He said we're going to beat Las Vegas. Now listen to this.
Now that's one we'll lose that game.
Okay. Week 13, your boy.
Now, Michael Irvin, now think about this. Michael Irvin says we are going to beat the Philadelphia Eagles in the opener on the road. Now, I'll be honest with you. I think the Cowboys may lose that in a close game. But I will not be surprised if the Cowboys win. But here becomes the problem. So you're telling me we're going to beat Philly on the road. But then when we get Philly at home on November the 17th, you're telling me the Philadelphia Eagles are going to beat us? Y'all keep that in your mind. Keep this in your mind. He says we're going to lose to Philly. Watch this.
Boys, the Chiefs, at home for the Chiefs. That's Thanksgiving.
We'll lose that game.
Mm-hmm.
Hold on a second. So you're telling me in week 12 and 13, the Cowboys not only lose to the Kansas City Chiefs, the Philadelphia Eagles, the Cowboys lose to the Chiefs. Now I'm going to show you a theme that Michael Irvin, I don't think he realizes that there is a theme going along with the teams that he's saying we're losing to. There is a theme. He said Green Bay. Now he said Philly. Now he said Kansas City. He said week 12, week 13, the Cowboys get beat. Now, let's listen to some more.
Week 14 at Detroit. What's the asterisk for, Mike? I don't even know. Primetime game. All right, primetime game at Detroit. Thursday nighter?
So people are going to trip here, boy. It's going to be hard. After you lose 2 in a row, everybody starts flipping.
Mm-hmm.
It'll be pressure, and then Dallas will lose 3 in a row here.
Wait a minute. Michael Irvin saying we're going to lose to Philly at home, Kansas City at home. Then we're going to get a long break in a sense. And then we're going to go and play the Detroit Lions. So wait a minute, this may be, so it's the following Thursday. I'm sorry, it's the following Thursday. So within this, what is this? That is 10-day span it is. This is the grueling part of the schedule. The 10-game span. Now he's saying the Cowboys also get beat by the Detroit Lions. Let me keep going. Then I'm gonna come to some of your comments, and then I'm gonna tell you why this is. If this happens the way Michael Irvin says, this is scary. Check it out.
So you're saying week 15, Minnesota lost?
No, Dallas will beat Minnesota week 15.
Okay, all right.
They'll come off that 3-game slide.
Oh, yeah.
They'll have 4 losing games, 4 games. They'll come back and win. They'll come back and beat Minnesota.
Week 16, home for the Chargers.
They'll beat the Chargers. Now, that Christmas game, go ahead on. They'll beat the Chargers.
Okay. All right. Week 17 at Washington.
The Christmas game.
That's the Christmas game right there? Yep.
That's the game. And that's what I have in the schedule. I have those losses, but look at those days of those losses. The Thanksgiving, the
So wait.
Christmas. Oh, yeah. I mean, it's bad.
Everybody's
the bad
watching
holiday, those. The bad holidays. Well,
So did you hear the host? She says, everybody's watching. So you're telling me the Dallas Cowboys are going to get 6 primetime games. We got 2 primetime games in the first 9 weeks. So we're going to win primetime game number 1 against the Philadelphia Eagles. We're going to win primetime game number 2 against the Arizona Cardinals in week 9. But then we're going to turn around in week 10. We're going to win primetime game number 3 against the Las Vegas Raiders on November the 17th. But then we're going to turn around on November the 23rd. We're going to lose at home. And then we're going to go on Thanksgiving. And we're going to lose at home. Then we're going to win. Then we're going to go to Detroit. And we're going to lose on another primetime game. And then we're going to beat Minnesota, beat the Chargers, and then we're going to come to Christmas, another primetime game, and we're going to lose to the Washington Commanders. So nobody sees a problem with this. So nobody sees a problem with this. I'm going to come to your comments and see what y'all are saying. But let me let you hear the rest of what he says about the season. Just listen.
but I think they will lose that game too.
Bad Santa makes a return. Week 18 at the New York Giants.
We win. We win.
Who did the math?
12-5.
Wow.
12-5. 12-5. Now, let me tell you, let me make sense on that. The 3 years prior to last year, they went 12-5 each of those years. And those years, one year I think it was like 30 points a game. They averaged 28, and another one like 27-5 or something like that. It was about 28 points if you average it out. 28.
So, let me give you the problem with what Michael Irvin just told us. Some of us may not realize this is a problem. If the Cowboys go 12-5, now we know they were injured last year. If the Cowboys go 12-5, somebody explain to me, how is this any different than under Mike McCarthy? Explain it to me. Explain how this is any different than Mike McCarthy if the Cowboys go 12-5. Let me show you something else. Let me show you why, again, this is scary. So you're telling me that we're not going to be any better than what we were 3 of the 5 years under Mike McCarthy. But watch this. Let me show you something. Let me show you another problem with what Michael Irvin said. Let me show you an absolutely scary problem with what Michael Irvin said. So if we go back and we look at the 2025 playoff picture, if we go back and look at the playoff picture, do we not understand that when we go back and we look at the playoff picture, let me show you something that's scary. This was the playoff picture. The number 1 seed was the Detroit Lions. The number 2 seed was the Philadelphia Eagles. The number 3 seed was the Buccaneers. The 4 seed was the Rams. The 5 seed was the Vikings. The 6 seed was the Commanders. The 7 seed was the Packers. The 8 seed was the Seattle Seahawks. So does anybody not realize 4 of the 5 teams that Michael Irvin has the Dallas Cowboys losing to, 4 of the 5 teams were in the playoffs in the NFC last year. Does anybody not realize that? So you're telling me we're going to go 12-5. We're going to do the same thing that we were doing up under Mike McCarthy? So we're going to beat the bad to mediocre teams? But then when we get to the teams in prime time, everybody watching and everybody's going to say, okay, let's see what the Cowboys are really made of. Okay, they beat the Philadelphia Eagles, but let's see, can they beat the Green Bay Packers? Lost. Let's go back. Let me show you again why this is absolutely scary. This is absolutely scary in the grand scheme of things. Because it is crazy. It is crazy that if you look at what Michael Irvin is saying, so we're going to go 12-5. So we about to get the brass taxes tonight, y'all. We're going to tell some truth. We always tell the truth, but we about to go deep diving tonight. Y'all ready to go deep diving? We about to go deep diving. Philadelphia Eagles, Super Bowl winning team. So we're going to beat them the first game. New York Giants. Are they trash? Are they trash or mediocre? New York Giants, a mess, trash. Chicago Bears. Are they trash or mediocre? Let me tell you something about Chicago. They will not be ready for the Cowboys by game 3. They will not be ready for the Cowboys. They got a brand new coaching. They're similar to us. The only issue is we got a veteran quarterback, veteran wide receiver, veteran D lineman, veteran O lineman. We got guys who've been here. Even though our coaches and coaching staff are going to be brand new. The players who have been responsible for the 12-win seasons include especially Dak Prescott, that when Dak Prescott is healthy, go check the stats. Dak Prescott will deliver. He will deliver to you on a silver platter. 12 wins. Dak Prescott will deliver to you on a platter. 12 wins. So we're different than Chicago. Chicago won't be ready for the Cowboys. So the Chicago Bears is one of those teams we'll be calling mediocre. The Green Bay Packers. We don't know what Jordan Love is, but for the most part, we're going to call them a good team. They're a good team. Okay, so hold on. So we're going to beat the one good team in Philadelphia because obviously we feel like we're going to catch them off. We're going to catch them off guard. But then we're going to beat the Green Bay Packers, who is a good, we're going to lose to the Green Bay Packers, who is a good team in Dallas. Then we're going to beat the Jets, trash. Carolina, trash. Washington Commanders, for some reason, even with Jaden Daniels and Dan Quinn, we still almost own them. We beat them last year with Cooper Rush. We almost beat them again last year with Trey Lance. It is no surprise that the Cowboys would beat the Washington Commanders at home. But then you're going to tell me we're going to beat Denver. Now, Denver's a good team. Denver's a good team. But Denver, if I'm not I think Denver might have gotten knocked off in the first round last year. Denver's a good team. But Denver is a team that I think we're going to lose to. And then we're going to beat Arizona. So when you look at those games, there's only really 3 teams in the first 9 weeks that are really any good. How is this any different than anything the Cowboys have been doing in the past? How is it any different? Because if we get to week 10 through 18, this is the same old Cowboys. This would literally be the same old Cowboys. So we would beat Las Vegas, but we would lose to Philly at home, lose to KC, the Super Bowl runner-up. We would lose to the Detroit Lions, who got a super team. We beat Minnesota, who now got J.J. McCarthy, and so we know they're not going to be the same. We're going to beat the Chargers, who we've beaten the last 2 times, 20-17, probably won't change. even though he got a little bit more firepower. Washington Commanders. I also think we probably lose this game on Christmas because I think the Cowboys and the Washington Commanders are going to split, but it will not be surprising if the Cowboys sweep it. And then it's the New York Giants, who are in hot mess, and I believe by this time they'll be talking about firing Dayball. So you're telling me, Michael Irvin, we're going to look just like we look with Mike McCarthy? We're going to go 12-5? We're going to beat the bad teams? The mediocre teams, maybe a couple of good teams, but then when it comes to the championship level teams, we're going to lose to them? Is this what Michael Irvin is telling us? Well, I got bad news for us. You know why I got bad news for us? Let me show you this list again. So Michael Irvin has us losing to Green Bay, Philly, Detroit, Washington. Does anybody not realize something? Therefore, they are going to, once again, more than likely be 4 of the teams we're going to face in the playoffs. Explain to me how this is going to be different. Now, this isn't how I think it's going to happen. But I am saying that if it happens the way Michael Irvin says, nothing's changed. 12-5 under Brian Schottenheimer ought to look different than 12-5 under Mike McCarthy. I would dare say that Brian Schottenheimer has a better coaching staff than Mike McCarthy ever had. I'm just going to tell it like it is. Brian Schottenheimer, I believe, has better personnel than Mike McCarthy had when he was with the Cowboys. And I think it's only going to get better next year. And I think it's even going to get better this season. So how in the world are we going to lose to 4 of the playoff teams from 2024 and then expect to go into the playoffs and beat those playoff teams that we lost to in the regular season? Can somebody explain it to me? No, you need to beat these teams. The Cowboys need to beat the Green Bay Packers. If the Cowboys don't beat the Green Bay Packers this season, early on in Dallas, when they see the Green Bay Packers again in the playoffs, because I do believe the Green Bay Packers will be in the playoffs again. If we see them in the playoffs again, they will literally kick our butts off the field. If we're going to lose to the Philadelphia Eagles, not early in the season, but late in the season, let me show you something. I'm going to show you again. Do we not realize that Michael Irvin is basically saying we're going to lose 3 games in a row, win 2, lose 4? This is not how you want to go into the playoffs. Momentum is not beating Minnesota, the Chargers, and the New York Giants. That is not momentum. No, momentum is beating Philadelphia, Kansas City, and Detroit. That's the stuff you take into the playoffs and say, boy, we ready. We ready. We ready when we beat those 3 teams. But if we lose to those 3 teams, come on, man. I don't think it's going to happen like this. But if it happens like this is the same old Cowboys. We went 12-5 before. Matter of fact, we went 12-5 3 times under Mike McCarthy. 3 times, people. Twelve and 5 is nothing to me. I'm sorry, I'm just telling Cowboys Nation. Cowboys Nation, 12-5 means nothing to me. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. You know why? Because unlike a lot of people, our quarterback is Dak Prescott. 12-5 means nothing to me. People do not understand how good Dak Prescott is. Dak Prescott can get 12 wins in his doggone sleep. I don't know. Y'all tell me what y'all think in the chat. I don't care nothing else about 12 wins. We were 7-10 last year because everybody was injured. Well, doggone it, with Dak Prescott back, I expect the Cowboys to have a winning record. I expect it. It's an expectation for Dak Prescott in the regular season. 12 wins? Dak Prescott gets that while getting his toes done. 12 wins? Nothing. Means nothing to me. Absolutely nothing to me. I know we came off. I know somebody says, well, we were 7-10 last year. Not with the starters. not with the starters. As bad as Mike McCarthy was, if Jerry and Stephen Jones run back that 2023 team and they tweak that 2023 team and they bring on a couple of linebackers, bring in another running back, man, we could have brought in, if we would have brought in Derrick Henry, Aaron Jones, or a couple of other running backs, we could have went out and got another wide receiver. Even with as bad as Mike McCarthy was, the Cowboys still get 12 wins under that bad regime. 12 wins means nothing to me. Means nothing. Now, will 12 wins be good under Brian Schottenheimer? Let me tell y'all something. I thought the Cowboys could get 12 games before George Pickens. You're gonna get 12 games with George Pickens, with Jaden Blue, with Jaden Blue, with George Pickens, with Phil Maffa, with Javonte Williams, with Jalen Tolbert. As much as we say he's not a 2, he's definitely a 3. You're telling me with Donovan Ezeraku, you telling me with Dante Fowler, you're telling me with Michael Parsons, you're telling me with what they did in the linebacking situation, you're telling me that DeMarion Overshown should be back around week 12 or 13. You're telling me Trayvon Diggs should be back around week 12 or 13 for sure. You're telling me with those players back, we're going 12-5? We're losing to Philly, Kansas City, and Detroit? We ought to be worried. We ought to be worried. 12 wins, I'm sorry. Okay, first year coach, okay, fine. If that's what we want, fine. I got to be honest with us tonight. George Pickens changes things. I'm sorry, George Pickens changes things. You cannot tell me with George Pickens. You cannot tell me that George Pickens has to at least be the difference in one game. He has to at least be the difference to say, no, with George Pickens, we're going to beat the Philadelphia Eagles in week 12. And if they mess around and let us beat them in week 1, we're going to sweep them. Because that's my thought process. If the Cowboys beat the Philadelphia Eagles in Philly, they'll stomp them in Dallas in week 12. It won't even be close in week 12. The Cowboys will stomp the Cowboys. They will stomp the Eagles in week 12. There is no way. There's no way. Not in my mind. I don't see it. I don't believe the Eagles will have an answer for the Cowboys by week 12 if they beat them in week 1. You're telling me 3 of the most pivotal. Do y'all not understand? 12, 13, and 14. Those are the most crucial weeks for the Dallas Cowboys. Y'all tell me. What does your confidence look like if you go into week 12, 13, and 14 and you lose to two of the 4 playoff teams for sure on your schedule? And you've already lost to Green Bay, playoff team from last year. Now you lose to Philly. Now you lose to Detroit. You lose to the Super Bowl runner-up. And then you're going to lose to Washington? And then you're telling me that you're going to go into the playoffs Feeling any different than you ever felt in the 12-win seasons with Mike McCarthy? I can't do it tonight, y'all. I can't do it tonight. No, I'm not worried because I don't think this is how this is going to happen. I'm just not sure Michael Irvin is understanding what he's saying. Because if this happens the way Michael Irvin says it's going to happen, this is, ladies and gentlemen, this is the same old Cowboys. This is the same old Cowboys. It's nothing different. It'll just be a different rapper, but it will not be different. No. No, no, no. And the reason why I'm saying this, George Pickens. I'm sorry. George Pickens changes things. George Pickens changes this. Do we not understand that George Pickens is not a number 2 wide receiver? George Pickens is not a number 2 wide receiver by any stretch of the imagination. If George Pickens was on another team before he got to the Cowboys, we might be calling George Pickens a top 5 wide receiver. George Pickens is not a number 2 wide receiver. And when you get 2 number 1s, when you do what the Cowboys have done in free agency, when you do what the Cowboys have done in this draft, and I got a strange feeling. I have a strange feeling. The Cowboys are going to get some more players post June 1st. I have a strange feeling. I will not be surprised if the Dallas Cowboys go and get a defensive tackle. I will not be surprised. I will not be surprised if they go and get another cornerback. I just won't be surprised. I will not be surprised at anything the Cowboys do from June 1st to the first game of the season. I am not going to be surprised. They're going to continue to try and improve this team. And this is why, to me, you're going to do all that, and you're only going to go 12-5 again? And you're going to lose to all of the playoff teams? I mean, I guess it's something to build on. We can say, wow, first year, Brian Schottenheimer, 12-5 with all that firepower. But who do you beat in the playoffs? Who do you beat in the playoffs? Because let's just think. We're going hypothetical tonight. We're going hypothetical based off what Michael Irvin is saying. I'm predicating all of this on Michael Irvin. So again, let's go to the playoff standings last year. So the Cowboys get in, I believe. I believe the Cowboys get in. The only team that I see on this list, or the team that I think that will get left off this list, and even that is going to be, hey, we're going to see how it comes down. So, Detroit Lions. Anybody think they're coming off the playoff list? I don't. Philadelphia Eagles. Anybody see them coming off the playoff list? I don't. I don't think they'll be as high as they were before, though. I don't think they'll be as high as they were before. Tampa Bay Buccaneers could come off. Could come off. Los Angeles Rams, they're not coming off. I'm going to make a bold prediction about the Los Angeles Rams. Not only are they not coming off, they may move up. Minnesota Vikings, that might be a team that comes off. Washington Commanders, they will not be off. Will be lower than they were, even though they were 6th. I think they'll be lower than they were simply because of the record. Green Bay Packers, they will be in there. And I do think they'll be at the bottom again. So the Cowboys has to be one of the teams. They have to be one of the teams. So one of these teams, the Cowboys are going to knock out of here. So if the Cowboys are 12-4, you take your pick. But one of those teams are coming off. The NFC East could very well send 3 teams to the playoffs this year. The NFC East is that good. 3 of these teams are going to be in here. So somebody is going to be off of here. So the Cowboys will have to knock somebody off. But again, so if I look at the 4 teams that he said they're going to lose to, Green Bay, Philly, Detroit, Washington, they're all in the playoffs. So we're going to lose to those teams down the stretch and then going to go right back in the playoffs and beat them. Just a few weeks later. What changes in a few weeks? So you're going to lose them. You're going to lose to them in prime time. You're going to lose to them. You're going to lose to them in prime time. And then you're going to turn right back around in the playoffs, and you're going to play these teams, possibly a combination of them, in prime time, and the expectation is for them to win? My problem is, how in the world do you not beat those teams? I'm just saying. Let me come down to the comments. I want to see what y'all are saying about this. This is strange to me. And it don't make sense to me. You're basically going to be the same old Cowboys. Mike McCarthy couldn't beat the good teams. Not consistently. He couldn't beat them. The dude said, Kansas City's a toss-up to me. But then I think we get a W against Detroit because we get a full 7-day rest. While it will be a short 4-day week for Detroit on that Thursday night. I'm just telling us right now. There is no way. There is no way the Cowboys do anything in the playoffs if they lose all 3 of those games. They don't do nothing. They will not do anything if they lose those games. Those games are too important and too pivotal. You lose those games, you lose momentum. I would rather lose to the Chargers than to lose all 3 of those games. The Cowboys got to buckle down, and they have to win in that 12th, 13th, and 14th week. They have to win 2 of the 3. And I mean at the bare minimum, they cannot go on a 3-game slide right there. The Cowboys mess around and go on a 3-game slide week 12, 13, and 14. Shoot, they'll mess around and get beat by Minnesota. They'll mess around and get beat by the Chargers, beat by the Commanders, and then the only game they win will be the Giants. Nah, the Cowboys cannot afford it. They cannot afford it. If the Cowboys lose those 3 games, hey guys, it's going to be a great season. We're going to still be rooting for the Cowboys. But I'm telling you, those 3 games are pivotal. Those are the 3 most crucial games on your schedule. You cannot lose them. You cannot lose all 3 of those. I don't think Michael Irvin is really thinking like this. But I bet if he goes back and think about what he's saying, it is crazy to lose those 3 games in a row. Because if you lose those 3 games in a row, it does tell you, man, have you really made progress? I'm not saying I'm expecting Super Bowl. But 12-5, man, it means nothing to me. Our quarterback is Dak Prescott. I almost expect 12 wins, man, when Dak Prescott is healthy. If Dak Prescott stays healthy, 12 wins is nothing. 12 wins is nothing. 12, 13, and 14, those 3 weeks. Those 3 weeks, they don't tell me nothing about Dak Prescott. Those 3 games tells me about this team. Those 3 games tell me that this team has said, nah, we about to make steps, man. This isn't about Dak Prescott. This is about this team. That's what those 3 games tell me. Those 3 games tell you where you are. Because I'm just telling us, if we hit 12 wins again, how could they even think in their own psyche? We're different. How? How could you think you're different? And you lose to 3 of the best teams in the NFL last year. And then you go into the playoffs and you say, yeah, we're 12-5 though. We beat everybody else. Well, those are the teams that you're going to have to face in the playoffs. Back in prime time, and more than likely, 2 of the 3 of those will be on the road. There is no way. There's no way, Cowboys Nation. There's no way. Danks 9,000. He says it's going to be a couple of years for the new face of the jail. Now, Danks 9,000, I agree with you. This team has got to get in sync, but I'm going to tell you something. George Pickens changes some of this. George Pickens changes some of this. Our quarterback is Dak Prescott. I'm not saying that in a bad way. I'm saying it in a good way. Our quarterback is Dak Prescott. 13 games as a rookie. Got hurt first year under Mike McCarthy. Came back second year with all the turmoil we know was going on in the background then. 12-5. Got hurt. Came back again. 12-5. 2023. Breakout game after the Los Angeles Chargers game. What did they do again? 12-5. I'm not expecting Super Bowl. I'm expecting progress. Because Dak Prescott is not only that good, George Pickens changes this whole discussion. You do not go get George Pickens saying, same old thing. Yeah, we got George Pickens, but he will not be the difference in week 12, 13, and 14. No. George Pickens better be the difference in one of those games. George Pickens actually better be the difference in all 3 of those games. George Pickens better be the difference. You're telling me you're going to have George Pickens, CeeDee Lamb, Jaden Blue, Kevontae Turpin. What? And Dak Prescott? Nah, man. No, I'm not saying we should be going to the Super Bowl, but I am not buying a 3-game slide. I'm not buying it. I'm not buying it right there. I'm not saying I'm expecting the Super Bowl. But when you go get George Pickens, when you have the free agency, the draft, and I believe the Cowboys are going to continue to improve the team. There's no way. There's no way. Not right there. No, not right there. Byron Joe David, appreciate that super chat. No. Byron Joe David, he said, what were you expecting a Super Bowl this year? No. Anybody who's been following me clearly knows what I've been saying. No, the Super Bowl, I believe, is next year. I believe the Super Bowl is next year, 2026 and 2027. I think those 2 years are going to be the Super Bowl years. Nope, didn't expect it. But Byron, what I expect is this. So you're telling me with a better, even though it's a new coaching staff, I think it's better than what Mike McCarthy ever had. I think it's better than what he ever had. The players, when you look at the players in Brian Schottenheimer's first season, the players, crazy work. And they're not done. I don't believe they're done. And George Pickens, if y'all don't think that this entire franchise is thinking win now, Because I thought it was just like, okay, first year we're going to kind of build. We're going to get it, we're going to let this thing gel, get in sync. And then next year we're going to make this ferocious run. The Cowboys seem to be trying to make the ferocious run right now. They're trying to make it right now. Because if they're not trying to make it right now, I don't know if there's really a point in making any more moves. The Cowboys seem to be making George Pickens is a right now move because we don't know what George Pickens is doing after this season. George Pickens may very well hit the lottery after this season. And I believe he will hit the lottery. He is going to hit the lottery, whether it be with the Cowboys, whether they tag him, or whether he goes somewhere else and the Cowboys don't tag him. But when you bring on George Pickens, man, you're saying, no, we got George Pickens. We want to win now. And even though I'm not expecting the Super Bowl Byron Joe DeVee, no, I'm expecting something different. Because 12-5 and you losing to three of the best teams on your schedule, the three best teams on your schedule at the most pivotal time of the season, if you're telling me you're losing to those three teams, that's crazy work. And not only are you going to lose to those three teams, you're going to turn around and lose to the Washington Commanders? That's crazy work. I'm not saying Super Bowl, but somewhere you have to say, no, we're not losing 4 of those games. We're not losing 4 of the last 9 games. All of them to playoff teams. Because if we lose all 4 of those games to playoff teams, then what does that say about us? I would at least expect the Cowboys to get to the playoffs and win 1 game. I would. I expect the Cowboys to win 1 playoff game if they get there. He says, no. Cowboys may pass this first round this year, but this is shot at now. That's the point. I do believe the Cowboys should get to the first year. I think they should get a playoff win in the first season. But I'm going to tell you this, Byron Joe David. So explain to me, how do you avoid Philly, Detroit, and the Washington Commanders? How do you avoid them in the playoffs? Now, if you're the number 1 seed, the expectations, they go out the roof. If you're the number 2 seed, you may not play one of them. But that means you have to be the 1, the 2. You got to be a high seed to avoid. Because if you fall anywhere in the 5, hey, bro, 5 and below, you're not avoiding those teams. The very teams that beat you in the regular season, you're not avoiding them. Now, don't get me wrong, Cowboys Nation. I don't think this is how this is going to happen. I do not think this is how this is going to happen. But if it does happen like this is insane to me if it happens like this. I'm just telling us, guys, the Cowboys, for their own sake, they can't lose those games. You can't lose the 4 most pivotal games at the second half of the season. You can't. It's about momentum. It's about momentum going into the playoffs. And momentum is not losing to Philly, KC, Detroit, and Washington on the biggest stages? No. That's more of people saying the same old things about the Cowboys. Nisi, we have to beat Green Bay. Say it. Nisi, you're right. We have to beat Green Bay. We have to. If we don't beat Green Bay, I do not believe will be one of the top 4 seeds. You probably face Green Bay if you make the playoffs. It'll be the very team you face again, probably. They got a little bit of firepower. I think they got a guy named, I don't know, maybe we don't remember this guy, but they got a guy by the name of Matthew Golden. And there's another guy I believe that's going to make a mark in this league very quickly. And his name is Savion Williams. I'm just telling us. No, we have to beat Green Bay. And when we get to the back half of that schedule, we have to beat Philly, KC, Detroit. We got to win one of the three, two of the three, preferably three of the three. But we have to beat them. We got to do it for this team's psyche. We got to do it for this entire team's psyche. We cannot fail all three times of those teams. We can't do it. I'm telling y'all, we can't do it. We can't do it. It's not going to be good for the franchise. We cannot do it. Bleeding blue. He says 3 losses in a row. Dak won't allow it. Appreciate the super chat. Timothy Govan, appreciate the super chat again. I'm telling us, guys, y'all have already heard me say, I'm not expecting Super Bowl. But what I am saying, when you went and got George Pickens, nah, man. George Pickens has to be the difference in games like this. He has to be. He has to be the difference. You can't tell me, because I'm telling y'all George Pickens, he's not a number 2. He's that good. And I'm sorry, let me put some respect on this man's name. Man, we got Jake Ferguson as a tight end. This dude's got to make a step this year. Ferguson is a playmaker. And he better prove it this year. Man, you telling me what we're going to have in the middle? Cooper Beebe? Tyler Smith? Tyler Booker? I'm telling you guys, nah, man. No, we got to beat those teams. I'm not saying we got to beat all 3 of them. Boy, no, front office. I said it. He didn't go 12-5 in his first year. You know why? Dak Prescott's ankle got twisted around backwards. But every year, Dak Prescott was healthy under Mike McCarthy. The team went 12-5. Every single season Dak Prescott was healthy, they went 12-5. Oh, stop it. William Jones loves the game of football. Hungry Heifer. Playmaker is looking at who's better, and all those teams are better. I disagree. I disagree. I disagree. I don't think the Washington Commanders are better than the Cowboys. And when Dak Prescott is healthy, even during the Super Bowl year of 2022, go check the tape. Dak Prescott put hands on the Philadelphia Eagles. Straight up. 2023, Dak Prescott with 1 wide receiver. We beat the Detroit Lions. We beat them. No, I'm not buying it. I'm not buying it. George Pickens, I'm telling y'all, George Pickens has to make a difference sooner than later. You don't go get George Pickens and say, yeah, we're not going to win. No, you got to make a difference now. Dank, to perform in the playoffs takes a different type of chemistry. That's what they should be. Dank, by week 11, we should really start seeing the Cowboys come into their own. And Damarion Overshown will be back by week 12. And we may see something absolutely phenomenal by week 12. Trayvon Diggs may very well be back on the field for the Cowboys. And as much as I believe the Cowboys are going to let Trayvon Diggs go, let me tell you something. I don't think they're going to let him go during the season. I think the Cowboys want Trayvon Diggs, Savon Revel Jr., and Deron Bland on the field at the same time. And I'm telling you, if the Cowboys get that combination on the field, they're not expecting to lose to these. They're not expecting to lose to those 3 teams. We shouldn't even expect them to lose to those 3 teams. Miss Matrix, she said the record never matters. We only need enough wins to make the playoffs and show up. And again, Miss Matrix, 12 wins means nothing to me. But the wins do. The wins do. And these 3 games, Philly, KC, Detroit, those are pivotal games. Those are season making or season breaking. Those 3 games are season making or season breaking. You win 2 of those 3 games and you come out that thing going, hey, man, and everybody does. The league says, Dallas different. You come out those 3 games and everybody says, nah, man, they different. Why you say they different? They beat Philly. They beat Philly in Dallas, KC in Dallas, Detroit on the road. Nah, man, they different. No, we're not saying they're supposed to go to Super Bowl. But, man, when you got doggone George Pickens, nah, man, you different. You different. Dodo be the best. You just said it the best. Dak built a football field in his backyard to get extra work in, but he doesn't like the game of football. Beautiful comment. Again, y'all, I'm telling us, I don't think this is happening like this. I don't think this is happening like this. No, I'm telling you, the Cowboys, the Cowboys right now are better than what they were in 2023. Right now, George Pickens made the Cowboys better than what they were in 2023. And I was saying that before George Pickens, but with George Pickens, 100% for sure. They're better right now. They have Tyler Booker. Yeah, they're better right now. Jaden Blue, they're better right now. You look on the other side of the ball. The Cowboys' pass rush is going to be from hell. The pass rush for the Cowboys is going to be incredible. The linebacking core is better. Do we need another one tech? I don't care what anyone says. If we're saying we need a one tech, we're saying that we don't think Mozzie going to make a step. And I do believe people are saying we want a one tech because we want to make sure that if Mozzie don't do it, then we want to make sure that we got somebody that can do it. But again, the pass rush, we're ready. Also, Digizua, I think he's the one that's definitely going to take another step. Now you got both sides where you can rush from. The cornerback situation, we're going to see how it turns out. But at some point, and especially by time we get to week 12, Trayvon Diggs, Deron Bland, and Savon Revel Jr., if health allows, they all should be on the field by then. Tomarion Overshown should be on the field by then. There is no way. There is no way we should let those 3 games slide. There's no way. There's absolutely no way. I can't buy it. I can't buy it. Timothy Govin. That's my point. That's my point, Timothy Govin. This team is built better. That can't be the same result. This can't be the result that Michael Irvin is talking about. Let me tell you something. When you're talking about 12-5, the 5 games you lose, they matter. The 5 games you lose, they absolutely matter. See, when you look at this schedule, I want y'all to think about this. Would you rather lose to Philly in week 1 or week 12? Because I'm going to tell you, I would rather not lose in either one of those weeks. But if I have to choose which one of those weeks I'm going to lose to Philly, I would rather lose in week 1. I would rather lose in week 1. I'd rather win in week 12. Because at the back half of the schedule, especially with those 3 games in a row, those are the 3 games that really are going to help us also to see what we made of. Week 1 is supposed to help us to see, okay, where are we right now? Where are we right now? So Philly is that game. We beat Philly. Hey, man, we're ahead of schedule. We don't beat Philly. Okay, we know what we need to work on. And then we start working that out on these teams like the Giants, the Bears, We start tweaking it by the time we get to Green Bay and we beat them. Then we can beat the Jets. We can beat Carolina. We get to Washington. They're at home. We beat them. Denver is a hard out no matter what. High altitude. I mean, you got to really be in shape, but it's still going to be a test of will. Sean Payton is a play calling master. Their defense is absolutely crazy. Nobody would trip if you lose to the Denver Broncos in week 8 because everybody's kind of saying, man, Denver's kind of coming on. Arizona, I think we beat them in week 9. Las Vegas Raiders, we beat them. But you get to Philly, Kansas City, and Detroit, and you go on a slide right there, it can't happen. It cannot happen. It cannot happen right there. Those 3 games are pivotal because of where they are. They're leading you into the end of the season. And if you lose those 3 games, let me tell you something. Your psyche is important. Your mental state is important. You lose those 3 games and you even start thinking, man, we might not be what we thought we were. So, okay, well, at least we'll go out and do this. And at least you don't want to be thinking like that. I don't think it's going to happen. I don't think they're going to slide those 3 games. Because if they do, boy, that is cataclysmic. It is. That is cataclysmic right there. Aaron Wesley, he said, we're not splitting with Washington. I don't believe Washington is that good or believe they got lucky. He said, I believe they got lucky a few times with some of the comebacks. Aaron Wesley, I'm not doubting you. We actually beat them with Cooper Rush, even though it was a crazy ending. We beat them with Cooper Rush. We almost beat them with Trey Lance. And Jaden Daniels was actually in the game. And the Cowboys were still handling it up on them. And we almost beat them. I would not be surprised if we sweep the Washington Commanders. I won't be surprised. But there is no way to me either that we beat the Philadelphia Eagles in week 1 and then somebody's going to come back and tell me, but then they're going to beat us in Dallas? Oh, no. They don't beat us in Dallas, it's over. I mean, if they don't beat us in Philly, it's over. Because we're definitely not going to let them come here and beat us. No, we're not doing it. I don't think it's going to happen like this. I think the Cowboys are going to be better than people think. It ain't happening like this. They're not sliding these 3 games. I full well expect the Cowboys to actually beat Philly and KC. I think where they may stumble is Detroit. But I fully expect them to beat, if they lose to Philly in the first game, which is what I think is going to happen, a close game in the first game, I full well expect the Cowboys to win in week 12. And I full well expect the Cowboys to beat the Kansas City Chiefs because I believe the Cowboys pass rush and what the Cowboys have done on the defensive line and what they're going to do is going to be similar to what Philadelphia was able to do last year. And I think the Cowboys are going to give the Kansas City Chiefs fits just like Philly did. I think they're going to give them fits. And so, again, when I think about the Cowboys losing, I don't have the Cowboys losing like Mike does down there towards the end. The Washington Commanders game, it won't shock me if they beat the Cowboys in Washington. But again, I do believe the Cowboys can actually sweep them. If you look at what happened last year and we didn't even have a full team, Dak is absolutely on the NFC. The Philadelphia Eagles are even going to look different this year. They are. The personnel has changed. The Cowboys may very well be, when you look at last year's playoffs, there are 2 teams, if you think about it, if you look at 2 teams that really improved, the Rams and the Cowboys. I'm not saying the other teams didn't get better. The Cowboys made astronomical steps. And George Pickens. Dak Prescott was already beaten up on the NFC with 1 wide receiver, with deficiencies. This year, first-year coaching staff even. I see the Cowboys being able to be one of these top teams. 12-4. You think about right now. If the Cowboys go 12-5, the Cowboys last year would have been the number 3 seed. Hands down, they'd have been the number 3 seed. I dare say if the Cowboys had been 12-5 last year, I don't think Philly is 14-3. The Cowboys actually had an opportunity last year to even be the number 2 seed if they would have won. If they win 12 games, I don't think Philly wins 14. If the Cowboys win 12 games, and if you look at last year's playoff picture, which I think the Minnesota Vikings could easily be out. They're not going to be 14-3 with McCarthy. They may actually slide out. I see Green Bay at the same spot. I see Washington maybe even, I don't think they'll be 12-5 again. The Washington Commanders may very well be at the 6th or 7th spot, 6th again or at the 7th. But I see the Rams and the Cowboys. I see the Rams and the Cowboys. I see the Rams scooting up another spot. I see the Cowboys either above or below them. I could very well see a scenario where it's Detroit, the Eagles, the Cowboys, and the Rams as the top 4 teams in the playoffs in the NFC. Easily. And you can't lose the way Michael Irvin is saying the Cowboys are going to lose. Again, it's only a prediction. I'm not tripping on my man Mike. But what I am saying, nah, man. No, you can't. It can't happen the way Michael Irvin is saying. If it happens the way Michael Irvin is saying, it's somewhat of a disappointment. It's somewhat of a disappointment. I'm not expecting the Super Bowl. But what I am expecting, and I'm just telling y'all might have different standards than I got right now. I'm expecting better. Yeah, I'm expecting better. Because I believe that Brian Schottenheimer, I got a video coming up for y'all next week, gonna knock your socks off. Brian Schottenheimer is to me, Brian Schottenheimer is a better coach than Mike McCarthy, and I hadn't even seen him coach one game. He's a better coach than Mike McCarthy. And he's definitely a better offensive coach. 1,000% he's a better offensive coach. We're going to see more modern things in the Brian Schottenheimer scheme. We're going to see more modern things. We're going to see some power things in the run game. We're also going to see some creativity in the run game. We're going to see play action. And again, I've already been doing the research on this. I'm going to show people. Everybody thinks, oh, yeah, we're going to be a run-heavy team. Hey, man, I already told y'all. I sent you a warning already. Yeah, we're going to run the ball. But don't you think for a second that Brian Schottenheimer is not going to put that ball in the air. Don't you think for a second Dak Prescott's going to have an MVP season. Dak Prescott's going to put up yards. He's going to put up touchdowns. Watch what happens. Watch how Dak Prescott looks around the middle of the season. Watch what Dak Prescott looks like. Watch what this offense looks like. They'll be humming by the middle of the season. They'll get to those weeks that Michael Irvin is talking about. Michael Irvin going to be changing his whole story on that. He's going to change his whole story. He is. He's going to change his whole story. He's going to change his whole story. He's going to change his whole story. Lisa Worley, Michael Irvin is predicted just like we are. He's predicted just like we are. He don't know what a good team we have that's going to have to develop. Yeah, okay. We need to hope Jerry Jones don't break it up after this year. They broke good teams up. Lisa, let me tell you something. We want more on this team. I'm just telling us, man. I've already shown us this. And I'll show us again next week. This team is better than the 2023 team. Hands down, it's better. We are better than the 2023 team that went 12-5. Green Bay, without me even seeing this team playing, man, that 2023 Green Bay team, they wouldn't have wanted to see this team. Not this team. This team, as it's constructed on paper, man, this team looks way better than that one. George Pickens would have made a heck of a difference in that Green Bay game. George Pickens? He'd have made a heck of a difference. No doubt about it. But I'm going to show us. I'm going to show us. We have a hint of what Brian Schottenheimer is probably going to do with this team going forward. I think we have a hint. Don't know be the best. He said, I think we're going to beat Philly game 1 by 10 and blow out Detroit. Hey, man, I'm telling you. And if we blow out Detroit, boy, that'd be great on the road. But again, we can't lose to those teams the way Michael Irvin is saying. Big Cloud, what's going on with you? He said, we got to show these teams we ain't the same. Straight up facts. Let them know we dogs and hit them straight in the mouth in every play. Facts. You can't lose those 3 games and say you're different. George Pickens makes a difference. George Pickens makes a difference. LaQueen, she says, Shotty will make sure our record will be better than 12-5. She said, trust me, our record will look like 13-4 at the most. Book it. Queen, I'm just telling you, I really do think this team being better than the 2023 team, at least on paper. We'll see how it all turns out. We are all, you know, I know we're all just kind of hypothetically speaking. But you can't tell me you're going to be 12-5. And 3 of the 5 games you're going to lose is to the 3 best teams on your schedule. Man, you got to beat one of them. You can't lose to all 3. You got to beat one of them. You have to. Miss Matrix, she said in McCarthy defense, his first year was COVID. It was COVID. And Dak went out. She said he essentially went 12-5 every season in Dallas. And let's keep in mind, his first season, Dak was hurt. His last season, Dak was hurt. It is what it is, Miss Matrix. Straight up facts. But I think the issue with Mike McCarthy, again, it was his mental game. Well, Brian Schottenheimer has already shown he's changed the culture. We're going to see, though. Young Star, he says Pickens gives you 3 more wins, which is 15-2. Hey, hey, 15-2 would be crazy, but I tell you this, even if he doesn't give you 1 more win, but he should give you 1 more win over teams like Kansas City, Philadelphia. He ought to be the difference in some of those games. He ought to be the difference in some of those games. Alex, he said nothing but facts, G. I'm telling this, Alex, we cannot lose to those 3 teams. We cannot do it. We have to beat one of them. We have to beat one of them. Because if we slide to all 3 of those teams, it will be the same narrative. The Cowboys, they're the same. They're the same. They beat the bad teams, the mediocre teams, maybe a couple of good teams. But when it comes to the true playoff teams, they lose. Nah, we got to change that narrative. Not for the media. We got to change it for ourselves. The team isn't doing this for us. The team has to do this for themselves. The team has to win 1, 2, or even all 3 of those games. Because I'm telling you, the Cowboys win 2 of the 3 of those games. You watch how they come out for the rest of the season. You watch how they look for the rest of the season. Man, them boys will look crazy for the rest of the season. They win 1 or 3 of those games. Win 1, close in another one. And who knows how they lose the 3rd. But they have to win 1. Can't lose all 3. They can't. My man, Robert Simmons, what's going on? Appreciate that super chat. Robert Simmons, he said, G, if you don't think we really don't need a vet 1 tech defensive tackle who helped Mozzie out. Well, Mozzie's supposed to be him. Mozzie's supposed to, that's the point. Mozzie is supposed to be him. What do we need another one for if we got Mozzie? He's supposed to get the majority of the snaps. Work Jay Toia in on some of the running on some of the early downs. If he gets a little tired, whatever the case may be, but you work him in. But again, I don't think what we're saying about Mozzie is as much about, because I don't really understand what we're saying of helping him out. What do we need to help him out for? He's the starter. Unless we're saying we want to create some kind of rotation. Because if you're saying you want to create some kind of rotation, then we're going to have to spend. Yeah, we're going to have to spend. And it looks like people keep talking about DJ, what his name? DJ Reader. They're going to have to spend. They're going to have to spend. They're going to have to give up something to get somebody if they really want that. They are. Kevin Edwards. Now, you notice what I've mentioned, Kevin. I said Cooper Beebe, Tyler Booker, Tyler Smith. Our questions are our two tackles. We got to see what they are. We have to see what they are. But again, even without knowing what they are, we're better on the outside. Ferguson should be back to normal, we hope, this year. And the run game, it will be better than what it was with Rico Dowdle. It will be better. Unequivocally, it'll be better. Lisa Worley, she said we need to beat Philly, Green Bay, Kansas City, Denver, and Arizona. These teams think they can beat us at any given day. And Lisa, think about this. We got to beat these. The Cowboys have to beat these teams for them. They have to beat these teams for them. They have to prove it to their own locker room. We're different. They got to prove it to themselves. We're different. Serotonin Cowboy, he said 2007, Wade Phillips' first year, 13-3. I'm awake. No playoffs. I'm awake. 12-5, we're in the playoffs. Of course, I already mentioned that part. But you go to the playoffs losing to those three teams, you probably get bounced out in the first round. Alex said we were 7-10 with an injured team. No quarterback and terrible play calling. I love how everybody's writing us off. The Cowboys will surprise a lot of people. Straight up facts. I think so too. Oak Cliff Rockefeller said, I like what Tommy talking about. He looks up to Chris Jones' style of play. The Queen says our record will be better than 12-5. Shotty will make sure of that. Yeah. And again, I do believe, Jeanette Rogers, what's going on? I do believe the Cowboys can get a 12-5 record. I don't think 5 of those losses will be 3 in a row to those two teams. Because if it's those 3 teams, what are we saying? The dude, he said even great teams lose in this league. Yeah, to me, it's how this team competes this year in those losses. Hold on. He said with McCarthy, they looking prepared and no desire to be physical in their regular season L's. The dude, they can't lose all 3 of those games, though. They can't. Those are pivotal games. Those are pivotal games. Those are the 3 best teams on your schedule. You can't lose to all 3 of them. You can't. Let me show you something here. Let's see. All right, so let's look here. So the Cowboys. So let's go back. See, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so let's look for a second. Let's do some deep diving here. So this was the Cowboys in 2021. The Cowboys won 12 games. They won 12 games. They lost 4. Yeah, they won 12 games, lost 4. And so if you look at the problem in that year, so the Cowboys took an L to the Arizona Cardinals. They took an L to the Las Vegas Raiders. They took an L to the Kansas City Chiefs. And they took an L to Denver. Well, if you look on their schedule, okay, they took a loss to Tampa Bay. Well, if you look on their schedule, those were 5 of the best teams on their schedule. Mike McCarthy did that in year 2. Those were 5 of the best teams on the schedule. Because if you look at the rest of them, and if I'm not mistaken, this was the thumb year for Dak Prescott. If you look at these wins, Los Angeles Rams 20-17. We beat Philly. We beat up on teams, but these teams that we beat up on, if you just look at them in totality, they were not that good. They were not that good. Minnesota was 6-1 at the time. Can't remember how they finished, but we beat Denver. Atlanta wasn't that good in the finish. We lost to KC. We know they were good. We lost to the Las Vegas Raiders. And around this time, all of these teams, while they had winning records, they were really nothing as it turned out in the grand scheme of things towards the end. But that was under Mike McCarthy. You look in 2022. Okay, hold on. This was the thumb season, I think, 2022. I think this was the thumb season. So Dak Prescott, they came out that year. They had 5 losses. Washington, Jacksonville, I remember that horrific loss. Green Bay, Philadelphia, Tampa Bay. Those, again, were some of the better teams on our schedule. And we lost to them. And we wound up, we did beat Tampa Bay in the playoffs, but we lost to the 49ers in the playoffs. And then when you look at what we did in 23, in some of these games, they do need a little bit more context. But look at this team, the Arizona Cardinals. I don't understand how the Arizona Cardinals are knocking us off all these times. But again, they did. But again, if you look at the best teams on our schedule, look at what happened. I don't count Arizona as one of them. San Francisco obliterated us. Philadelphia, division rival, we kind of let that slide, but they beat us. This was one of those years. Buffalo Bills beat us down. Miami Dolphins probably should have won that game, but we lost to the Dolphins. So in the grand scheme of things, we got down into the playoffs, and this was and I don't even think it was a collapse. I just think Green Bay was better than us at that time. A lot of people don't like to hear that, but they were just better than us at that time. But again, people always talk about us because when you look at how these teams finished off these seasons, it turns out that we don't beat some of these teams at pivotal moments that would have took us to another level. For example, had we beat the Buffalo Bills in Week 15 in 2023, could have got us the number 1 seed. Had we beat Miami, could have got us the number 1 seed. No one asked the question. We talked about this during the season. No one asked the question. Why is it we kept getting 12-5s? Why couldn't we get 12-4? Why couldn't we get one more win? Why couldn't we get one more win and get the number 1 seed? We failed over and over and over at this. And I'm telling us, man, when you get down towards the end of these seasons and you come to these pivotal teams, the best teams on your schedule, man, you got to beat those teams. Those are the teams that really give you the momentum. Because I'm going to tell you, this was fool's gold, and nobody even realizes it. This was absolute fool's gold towards the end of the season. When you look at how we finished the season, Week 12, 45-10. Week 13, 41-35. Pretty good contest against the Seattle Seahawks. But Week 14, man, the Philadelphia Eagles were in shambles. The Eagles were in shambles by Week 14. They were. And even with the record, man, they were in literal shambles. So the Cowboys win. Okay, and that's our record to the side. I'm sorry. The Philadelphia Eagles were in shambles. So we beat the Philadelphia Eagles 33-13. But we came back and we lost to Buffalo. We lost to Buffalo. And Miami is the game that people say that Dak Prescott lost the MVP race. We lost to Miami. We did. And when you think about those two games and the Detroit Lions game, very controversial game. And we dominated that game early on. had some turnovers, let Detroit back in the game, and then we had to beat Detroit down the stretch. Detroit tried to cheat with a weird play, trying to fool the referees. And we won that game. Very controversial, but we win it 20-19. Some people say we lost. But if they let that play stand that they tried to cheat on, that'd have been a 3-game slide. We went right into the playoffs. Everybody had all these expectations for the Cowboys. What happened? We got bounced out by Green Bay. We can't do the same thing again. I'm telling us, we cannot do the same thing again. We go down the stretch of these, and look at this again. Look at what happens. We go down the stretch of these seasons, and it's like we got a weak part of the schedule in certain spots. We're blowing teams absolutely out. But we get to these pivotal games back here at the end. But I think what happened in the 2021 season, I think this schedule was pretty light back here towards the end. And then we wound up in the playoffs. Tampa Bay wasn't that good. We beat Tampa Bay. And I'm not going to say that the Cowboys were not good, but Tampa Bay, they were not the same team. And Dak Prescott and Kellen Moore had an absolute flawless game. Absolute flawless. And destroyed Tampa Bay, but then we got San Francisco. The Cowboys need tougher opponents down the stretch to get them ready for the playoffs. They need tougher opponents down the stretch. And they need to beat those opponents because those are the type of games that help you go into the playoffs with momentum and beat teams. They do. They help you beat teams. And I'm telling you, these 2 games, and actually it was these 3 games, Buffalo, Miami, and Detroit, those were very pivotal games. They were pivotal games. And I believe those 3 games kind of dictated how we looked in the playoffs towards the end. And that's why I think they exposed us in a lot of instances. And we went in, and that 48-32 is nowhere as close as it looks. It isn't as close as it looks. So the Cowboys, man, coming up in 2025, I'm telling us, guys, these 3 games, Philly, Kansas City, Detroit, those are season makers and breakers right there. Those are season makers and breakers. I mean, if I'm the coach going into these 3 games, y'all tell me what you think in the comments. But if I'm going into these 3 games, I'm telling my team, we have to win. We have to win these games. It's these 3 right here. I'm telling them we have to win these. 1 week at a time. But we got a very tight stretch. We're going to play 3 games in 14 days? I'm telling my team, guys, we got to win this. We got to win this. These 3 games, man, they will really make or break a franchise. You can't lose all 3 of them. And I'm telling us. And again, I do not believe that's how it's going to happen. And I just wonder if Michael Irvin was thinking about that. You can't lose those 3 games. Let me go down. Let me catch up. In the comments, you tell me what you think here. Let me see where I want to get to. Let me start with Big Cloud. Big Cloud says culture and mentality is changing in Dallas. Yes, sir. I believe that too. I 100% believe that. And that's another reason why I don't think this is going to happen the way Michael Irvin is saying it's going to happen. Can't happen. Can't happen the same. The dude, he said, I think Chicago is simply better by no longer having Eberflus as their head coach. He's a great DC, but definitely showed he's not an age coach. Agreed. And I think he's going to be the reason why we're going to beat the brakes off Chicago. Hoodie Kush said, when Dak is on the field, we go to the playoffs. Exactly. Exactly. That's why for me, 12-5 is nothing. Dak's going to get that in his sleep. Dak going to get 12 wins in his sleep. Aggie, he said those teams will have to beat us. I like how you said that. Yes, sir. Patrick, I love it. Phil Moff, I think he's going to be a beast. The dude, he said, I have them 2-3 for those 3 games. Beat KC on Thursday, on the Thursday game, and Detroit with the extra rest. He said, I say Philly gets us week 11 because we beat them in week 1. That is exactly the way I'm thinking, too. That is the way I'm thinking, dude. I think Philly edges us out in the first game. I think Philly edges us out. But I think we get them in the second game. And then I think we also beat KC. I think Detroit may be the game that we lose. But I think the Cowboys, if they really get it together, they can win all 3. If I'm the coach, I'm telling them we got to win all 3. Superstar, he said, don't let the playmaker get you riled up. Oh, no. Again, I've already said, Superstar, I don't think it's happening like that. But I'm hypothetically saying, if it happens like this, it's the same old thing. I don't think it's going to be the same old thing. I think the Cowboys are going to pull through. He said he just said that so he won't look wrong. Superstar said in case it happens, he doesn't really believe we're going to lose all 3 games. You know, it's a diehard. You know, he's a diehard Cowboy. Yeah, you know what, Superstar? But the other part that you're saying, see, he's on TV. And so Michael Irvin, I do think he may be hedging his bets a little bit. I think he may be hedging his bets. John says, Clayton Adams is the reason we got beat up by the Cardinals. Remember, Adams, yeah. He's the reason we got thumped. Church, hey, John, I think Eberflus is the reason why we're going to beat the Bears. And I think Clayton Adams is going to be the reason why we beat the Arizona Cardinals. Yeah, no doubt. Skeptical fan, Hunter's fumble screwed us against Miami. Yeah. We should have won the Miami game. And they penalized Dak Prescott in the MVP race. It was crazy. CW said this season's development, not regroup for 2026 season, but there are surprises coming to the league. Just wait and see. CW, I think George Pickens is going to change some of that for the Cowboys. George Pickens is that good. I'm telling us, George Pickens is that good. And I do believe that Brian Schottenheimer is going to run the ball. Y'all don't misunderstand what I'm saying. But I'm going to show us some stuff about Brian Schottenheimer that's going to blow our minds. No, Dak Prescott going to put up numbers. Dak Prescott going to put up numbers under Brian Schottenheimer. Don't y'all expect Dak Prescott just to be throwing for 225 yards a game and blah, 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 and that's all. No, Dak going to put up numbers. You watch what I tell you. Dak's going to put up numbers. And George Pickens changes this season. He does. George Pickens is a win now move. He's not just a win in the future move. It's a win now move. Uncle Charles, he said, salute. He said, we still need another corner. Stephon Gilmore. Make another running back, maybe another running back or defensive tackle. I think they may get a DT. They may try to run with the run game, though. Skeptical fan, couldn't stop the run. The dude, that Detroit game was crazy. It seems like Campbell has a vendetta against Jerry Stephen for some reason. Facts. So, all right, guys. We'll see how I feel tonight. I got to go catch a movie. My wife just walked straight into my live stream, handed me my wallet. I guess that's the sign right there. She's like, we got to go. All right. Nisi said, McCarthy didn't stay aggressive when it worked. We have a head coach with mental toughness. Players will see and follow. I agree. Again, momentum going into the playoffs is important. If we are healthy, there is no team we can't beat. I agree with you, lost in translation. Yeah, I'm good. Again, I just wanted to bring this to our attention. I don't think it's going to happen like this. These Cowboys are going to go in here and take care of business. They're going to look a lot better than people think. Eddie Lowe, he said, we thought McCarthy was going to be the reason. Boy, hey, we thought the first time when we played Green Bay, he was going to be the reason. Man, after that, shoot, I realized very quick, Eddie Lowe, this man was not going to be able to beat Green Bay. He was not going to be able to do it. Appreciate y'all. I'm awake. If you're awake, if I'm feeling good tonight, I'll be back. Oh, yeah. Yeah, man, she just crashed right into the stream like it was nothing. Now, it's another door that she could have came into. She came right in through the door. I guess she said it's just time to go. Hey, guys, I appreciate y'all rocking with me tonight. I got to go watch a movie. Quack Quack said, happy wife, happy life. I hear you. Again, I appreciate you rocking with me. Nisi said, G, you better get off this live and go to the movies. Yeah, I'm about to head out. Nisi, your package is on the way, too. Appreciate you. Again, oh, yeah, superstar. Hey, hey, you know me. I'm ready. I think the Cowboys going to be fine. I just want to bring it to our attention that if Michael Irvin, if that what he says come true, boy, we got a lot to worry about. But I'm not worried. Cowboys going to be great. They're going to be fine. Y'all hit that like button on the way out. We'll see how I feel tonight. It seems like a good night to do Cowboys After Dark. Till next time, let's talk Cowboys. We talk facts. Peace.